Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. Sorry for the absence. I was on a vacation and it is very hard to film non-terrible YouTube videos on vacation because I am not set up for that. So I am back one day late to talk about the epilogue, and specifically we are back on Osiris Watch after taking a very long break here. We kind of got the end result of this spoiled by Bungie when they released a lore page early. We knew that Osiris had disappeared. We didn't know the context of that or what may have happened leading up to that exactly. But now we got the answers to that in this week's epilogue mission, which is a final override in the Batsa district, as many, including myself, predicted, given many clues that were leading in that direction. In terms of Osiris himself, he did a lot of shady things, and some people came away from this like thinking he wasn't Savathun at the end of this, which I don't really know how you got to that conclusion. For me, this starts off with Lakshmi's talking on her broadcast over the radio, and she just says that Osiris helped me learn how to control the Vex. So at the very least, that implements Osiris in the coup attempt, because why would he teach Lakshmi how to do that otherwise? And I mean, ironically, he teaches her that, but it's obviously kind of a trap because she cannot control the Vex. I mean, she unleashes them and then she is immediately killed by them or consumed by them. I'm not exactly sure what happened. She just kind of screams a lot, and then you can see her body right when you start the override mission, which is easy to miss. But yeah, she is very dead. That is over, so as much as it was fun to welcome Lakshmi back, it's kind of a space Nazi. She is gone. She only lasted a season. And Osiris was instrumental in screwing all this up, but in reality, this is probably exactly what his plan was. Further on, over the course of the mission, we have Saint rushing to help fend back the Vex and the Taken off screen, and then Osiris disappears, and Saint's like, hey, he was right behind me, like, what's going on? Like, I don't know where it happened. Anyway, I gotta fight. And then after the battle, I had trouble triggering this cutscene at first because I left the override and went directly to the tower, which means you will miss the cutscene. You have to actually go straight to orbit. You cannot go to the tower, like exactly from the override mission. So that's why I screwed that up. But if you watch the cutscene, we get a look at Osiris kind of being creepy, lording over the events where all the other members of the tower, or at least like a lot of the bigger ones, like Korra, Zavala, even Amanda Holiday shows up, even though she's not a guardian, is shooting people with her chaperone, which is awesome. But he's there not helping, just sort of watching things, and then he leaves. And then after this mission is over, like Ikora says, like, yeah, we can't locate Osiris, which isn't great, but we know he's a good guy. So all he has to do is come back to the city, and everything will be fine, and we'll clear his name. This is the same Ikora who just trusted Osiris with, like, literally everything. All the Vanguard secrets and hidden reports and all the research they have in Savathun. I feel like everyone is taking this maybe not as seriously as they should be, but this feels like we're in a situation where we are multiple steps ahead of the actual characters here. Like, if you weren't paying attention to any of the lore and we're only going based on, like, Osiris is, like, saying this kind of shady thing here and there, and then he doesn't show up to the battle and disappears, you're like, okay, like, is he a villain? He's a bad guy. And yet, like, the lore itself, we've gone over this many times, seems very clear that he is Savathun's vessel within the city. Savathun is essentially wearing him like a skin suit. We do not know whether or not the new Osiris, or the old Osiris is dead. He might just be imprisoned somewhere, or something like that, but that is not confirmed. What is clear now is that Osiris did not reveal himself to be Savathun, and people in the tower still trust him and still think he's actually Osiris, despite this giant mountain of evidence. I mean, I understand the Vanguard doesn't have access to, like, the lore pages we do that are, like, written from Savathun's perspective in a human body. Like, theoretically, no one in the tower should know that Savathun is in the tower as a human, so they might just think, like, Osiris is messed up from Segura dying still and not being a guardian and whatever. So like I guess I kind of understand their naivete here, but it does come across as a little weird. So what this says to me is, yes, this is still ongoing into the next season here, and I would assume that I don't know if Osiris will show up right at the beginning or something, but Osiris is Savathun. Obviously, he would show up in the Witch Queen and then reveal himself. Maybe he's revealing himself in the Witch Queen or over the course of this next very, very long season. But we are kind of done with him as far as we know for now, because he has officially left the tower and left everybody. Kind of a weird thing. Like, I guess this was Savathun's master plan of just like corrupting Lakshmi enough to open a Vex portal in the tower. I guess maybe she didn't have the ability to do that herself, or Korea didn't have the ability to do that herself, and they needed Lakshmi somehow, which is why Osiris was kind of like working behind the scenes to make all this happen. Of course, the solution to this was us just killing everything, as we always do, so even Vex being inside the city was not that big of a deal. We just cleaned it up. There is a memorial thing, like we know that some people died. Lakshmi died, as we previously predicted she would based on the last lore page. Some amount of Elixni and humans died, and yet this was something we were able to overcome pretty easily. Saint is going off about how like he's going to make sure that this is like a more worthy, tale than the Battle of Twilight Gap and stuff, and it's like, okay, let's calm down. It was like an override mission. I don't know. In terms of the actual mission, I guess we'll talk a little bit about the substance. I don't love that it was just another override mission. It doesn't really make any sense to me that we were still doing like the whole like Vex portal, like deposit data spikes thing, because like the whole point of that was like the farm information for the location of Korea. So like the fact that it's formatted the same, like I get it from like a this is a farmable activity perspective. It's got to have the same format, but in like as a story mission, it like doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And the final boss is just like kind of whatever. We don't really know anything specific about that last thing we fight. It's just like kind of another generic Vex thing. I thought it'd be cool if like Lakshmi was, her consciousness was like transferred into a Vex body or something, and we fought that as a boss, but that didn't happen. The cutscene was cool. I really think Destiny has got to figure out friendly AI to some extent. Like it is very weird to have this like story mission where like, okay, Saint's here with Mithrax and like the Elixni are fighting alongside the Guardians, and like no one is fighting alongside the Guardians. No one is there except us. To see like we're almost moving backwards, because like, do you remember the first Forsaken quest we had where Spider has like his own little fallen dudes that follow you around and shoot things, and like yeah, they weren't very good, but they were around and they were doing things. But this seemed like a prime time to like, okay, let's have some friendly fallen in the area, at least pretending to shoot at the enemies, even if they're not doing anything that's all that helpful. Again, like it's kind of weird because they wanted this override to be kind of in format the exact same as the other overrides, but I don't know if that was worth, like I would have rather just had kind of a one-off story mission that was better than what we saw here, instead of just another place to do overrides. I think that's a little boring, and I don't know how many overrides people are even going to be doing after the next 2 weeks here. Like, yeah, they're not going away like in past seasons, because seasonal content is sticking around, and yet, I don't know. I don't care about another override. I'm sure most people don't. So that was kind of weird. One final aside, maybe I'll do a whole video about this later, but like in terms of friendly AI, if you search around enough, there is a friendly blue-eyed Vex Harpy sitting around at a console, and he has Morse code or I think it's Morse code, where that translates to, it's either assistance or assistant, where, okay, so the two things here, we've seen this blue-eyed harp, at least a blue-eyed harpy before. There was one in Beyond Light, and I think there was one in D2 Vanilla that was like a friendly harpy that was not like an enemy. I don't know if this is like the same harpy or if this is just like the symbol of a harpy helping us. The theory that I'm hearing spread around is that Asher Mir is not dead. He just had his consciousness transformed into a Vex or the Vex network, and this is Asher Mir kind of resurfacing to help us as a Vex harpy. And if it is assistant, not assistance, he used to always call us assistant. So it could be a fun little Easter egg. Like, given the fact that this blue Harpy has been around for a long time, I'm leaning away from the idea that this is Asher Mir, and yet I remember there was something in some of the old prophecies about Asher Mir speaks or something. Like there was something in those that kind of flashed back to him. I don't know. I'll go into that later, but that's just a fun little Easter egg if you haven't found it yet. And so yeah, so Osiris is kind of off the table for the time being. I'm a little surprised that they're sticking with the whole Vanguard, like, I don't know, he like helped sabotage the city and then ran away, like, too bad. I guess we should go find him and bring him back here and give him a medal because he's such a good guy. Kind of a weird ending for that. I do expect something to happen next week, not at this level, but we're missing two things. We're missing the Lost Sector Oracles, which at this point I'm almost willing to just guess that was some sort of like accidental test thing that was not supposed to be live, or something for way in the future that is not supposed to be live. Because I don't know, this doesn't seem like something that they would roll out in like the last week of the season, so maybe nothing will happen with that this season. But then there's also an exotic ship that is supposed to be the end of a like a mission reward for Season of the Splicer. Very Splicer-looking ship. It's exactly kind of the same style as all the Splicer weapons. So I think maybe we'll have some like big group hug ceremony with Mithrax or something, and maybe get the ship there. So that's what I think will happen next week, and then the week after that is the new season. I think, yeah, it is, and then the Witch Queen debut and all that stuff. So lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to talk about. Well, maybe not a lot of stuff to do past the 10-minute epilogue, but new things for the first time after a month of Solstice of Heroes, which was not really anything happening. But cool to have Osiris Watch back, even if it's in kind of a weird scenario, and the tower people are kind of being idiots about it. But I don't know. I'm sticking with my theories. I really think that this is not really even a theory at this point. I think that's just how it is. And we will see what happens next. So thanks for watching, and I gotta go pick Evie up from the groomers, which is why she's not here. But Evie merch, I believe I will be able to debut Evie merch by the end of the week. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.